Hello, 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 and welcome back, everybody. Those that are returning. As you can see, episode 90, we do have a special guest here, so we should have a few new viewers and listeners. I think if you look at that beard, he definitely attracts a crowd. There's no doubt about that. And before I let him introduce himself, for those people that don't know, there is a podcast that goes by the name of Shits and Gigs. They always flex that they're the second best podcast in the world, which is dope. That you should listen to them. But they have this really cool thing of what they do where they introduce someone on the pod, like someone that's close to them. And I thought the perfect person to start with would be the man himself, Aaron. So I'm going to take the honors. I'm going to try do him justice here with this introduction. So I met Aaron for the first time when we were in grade 8. The three of us went to school together, Tev, Aaron, and I. I remember meeting Aaron, and he wasn't quite the chunky piece of meat that you see in front of you right now. He didn't quite have the beard that he has now. But what he did have, what I remember about when I met him, is that he was one of the friendliest people that I had come across coming into grade 8. Now I remember the first day of school, you walk in and the hall is packed, and there was just so many people there, and everyone was kind of in their cliques, right? Because a lot of us came from same primary school, so we were all in our cliques. And I just remember seeing Aaron, the skinny dude. This was before he had braces, so his teeth looked a little different. He had hair. And I just remember he was just like, "Hey, what's up, man?" And he started talking to me, and it was like the beginning of our friendship. And, what I think I can say about Aaron and what stands out to me for the most part with Aaron is that he's the type of guy that nothing can really say no to him. He really works so hard. I've never ever seen someone so dedicated, so driven. Even when the odds are stacked up against him, he really, really puts it together. He was the skinny guy playing first team rugby. Even though he was one of the smallest guys on the field, he was there. He was committed. He's just such a hard worker. I would never, ever question anything. And, sometimes people ask you that question if you were in trouble and you had to call someone who could save you, come up with a plan. I'd be calling Aaron, man. So as Tasty Tev is there, I'd like to call it Audacious Aaron because he does things boldly, man. He just does things. He's audacious. He takes shots. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Aaron. There he is. Yeah.
Can you hear all the applause? I can hear it. Cool, man. What an introduction. Man. Well, I mean, you pretty much said exactly what I probably would have said about myself. I wouldn't have added the super skinny part in, to be fair, but I'll take it. But no, man, that was a great introduction. Super cool to be here. It's something new and exciting. I've been supporting you guys, I mean, since day one.
Day one, yeah.
Super fan right here, man.
Since 2-3 viewers,
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's been amazing to watch you guys, man. I mean, I think it's really going to be something quite spectacular.
Nice, sure. Man. Yeah, and just give us a quick rundown of kind of what your interests are, what you do, that kind of thing.
Sure, man. I mean, such a hard question. It's like when people tell you about yourself and you just forget everything you've ever known. But I mean, simple things. I love fitness. I love sports. I still partake in sports now and then. Love tattoos. I mean, I'm quite a simple guy, man. I just like to go to gym. I like to eat my food, come home, spend time with my fiance. It's pretty chilled, man. Yeah.
Simple pleasures.
Good life, man. Good life.
Things, man. It's the simple things.
No, I love that. Love that. He's a very modest guy for everyone that's watching and listening, and very humble, as you can kind of make out. But he is a spectacular guy, like Tyler was saying. Such a friendly guy, a guy that's always showing up for people as well, man. And anytime you have a day out or a night out, this is the guy that owns the room. When the music kicks in, you must see this guy on the dance floor. I've seen it many times. He brings out all the moves. If you guys have seen Jiga Majiga on SABC 1 back in the day, yeah, this guy got all the moves from there. Absolute legend. And yeah, this is a very special episode. We're going to be chatting about quite a few things, quite centric about the language of love. And we're speaking about relationship centric. So we're going to dive into that a little later. I think to kick us off, we had a question running this week. And Tyler, you want to just remind everybody on what that question is? Tantalizing Tyler, I'll have you.
Oh,
Tenacious Tyler.
It's interesting. You're like one of those candy, what are they called? Pop candies.
the ones that tick on your tongue.
On your tongue, and you're like, yo, what is that? This is so cool.
Hey.
Tantalizing time.
I can work with that. I
There
can
we
work
go.
with that. Okay, sick. So let's chat about the question of the week. So I asked it on. We all know at the moment there's this big. I wouldn't call it a fad because the show is actually sick, and I know the two of you haven't watched it yet, and you're sleeping on the show. But anyway, so it's The Last of Us that's been out with I forget the actor's name, but he's from The Mandalorian and he's from
Narcos as
Okay.
well.
Narcos, yeah.
Narcos, Game
Pedro
of Thrones.
something.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal. That's it. And the show is sick. So it had me thinking, and I was wondering. So I asked it on Instagram. So you wake up in a post-apocalyptic world, and we're talking zombies here. Zombies in Last of Us, they called the infected. And basically, the question was, what is your plan? So before I open the floor to Aaron and Tev to hear what they said their plan was, I'll go through some of the answers that we got on Instagram. So thank you to those of you that did answer. The first one that we got was stay inside and survive off noodles. For some reason, someone thinks they prepared
Gotta go
in that.
ramen. Gotta go ramen.
You gotta go ramen, yeah. I quite like this. It depends which one. So which post-apocalyptic world? If it was the Walking Dead, she said she'd be fine. Any other zombies and it's over, and I think that's true. You know, like
It depends on what zombies we're talking about.
Real.
Because, I mean,
Yeah.
if it's the Resident Evil zombies, I'm not doing anything. I'm just I'm immediately dying, like immediately. But I mean, and even if it's like the kind of zombies from I Am Legend, because I know they're not really zombies, but they kind
they're
of
smart.
yeah.
I'd also be completely terrified. But I mean, if it's like zombies from Shaun of the Dead, I mean, I'm
Yeah,
Home
that's
free.
different.
like
Even World War Z. Have you guys seen World War Z?
they're heavy, man. They're
Those
heavy.
ones are hectic.
Ew.
Those ones are hectic.
Ew.
So,
And it's the same in The Last of Us. They're similar. They kind of like no regard for them. Like they sprint. You know, other movies they just walk, but in this one they move. You know.
Yeah.
So the last three responses that I got was one was to try and move to like a rural like area, like kind of woods in Alaska kind of vibe, like just really trying to isolate themselves. But then I
remote,
wonder
yeah.
like about food and stock and stuff.
yeah.
And then the other one was they just responded, die. Like that's the plan. What's the plan?
Fair
To die.
enough.
They-
Fair enough.
Yeah,
You're
like-
wasting no time's being wasted. You succumb to your fate. You're like, it's done. Why
You
must
just
I still
accepted
play
it.
this game?
Actually, I wanna ask that later on. Let me first ask, what's the plan? Aaron, what's the plan? You wake up post-apocalyptic. What's the plan?
So when you sent me this, my first thought was also what kind of apocalypse is it? Like the Bird Box one, or is it A Quiet Place? Like which like apocalyptic is it? But you said zombies, so I don't know, man. I kind of have to agree with the Alaska vibe. Just segregate myself, bury down, and just hope for the best. I mean, getting supplies is going to be difficult, but I think that's the best option, man. I think that's the best option.
Okay, Tev, what you got?
Combination of solutions here, boys. So I watched,
Hey.
I think it was Rise of the Planet of the Apes yesterday. Whatever, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
I need to get some sustainable energy going here. So hopefully I'm close to a reservoir or a dam. And I'll
Okay.
use whatever skill set I have to try and get that operational. I also watched quite a few Bear Grylls episodes, so hopefully that puts me in good stead. The wild with Bear Grylls, that guy knows everything from what to eat, what to drink, living inside animal carcasses. He's the real deal, man. So hopefully I still have I've stored a few of those episodes mentally, hopefully, and that
Okay.
gets me across. Otherwise, I'd need to be like Will Smith and befriend, like, hopefully have a dog or something. I just must hope that whatever his face is isn't the one that's just walking around town.
Hey, but imagine
randomly
dealing
popping
with
up.
you deal with that loss though, like what he had to deal with.
Yeah, that
Yeah, I
is-
mean,
it is
losing
heavy.
losing an animal it will be rough, man. I mean,
Especially in that situation, you know, like
Well, you gotta put
I
it
think-
they don't
down.
know.
I think what I would do, actually, I know this isn't a big spoiler, but in episode 3 of The Last of Us, what the one guy does is he kind of secures off a whole town. Like he builds, like a fence around this town, and he does the same thing. He gets like all this natural gas and he collects it, and he sets up his space to kind of keep himself safe, which I thought was quite cool. But Katya always suggests, and I think it's actually a really good idea, is to get to water in some regards. So like if you could find like a desalinator, it would be necessary, especially if you're going into the ocean, because there you've got food, and if you can change the water, the salt
That's
water into
clever.
water, then you're good. And I don't think zombies don't swim. You know what I'm saying? So
I don't know.
That's
Man.
quite a,
I don't know. I've never
quite a good solution
uh,
there, man. Yeah, we must just hope that the
Ah.
zombies aren't like. There's a Korean drama that I saw recently.
Oh
where
yeah,
the
it's on Netflix,
zombies-
I think.
even when they turned, they still have cognitive memory of things they could do as humans. So they know
Yeah.
how to open a door, they know how to climb stairs, they know how to do
Oh, wow.
ladders or whatever it is. So that's
What?
intense.
what show is that? That sounds sick.
I think it's
It's on
either
Netflix,
a
man. I just
movie.
don't remember
I don't know
what
if it's the
called.
movie Alive or if it's the show. That was the show. It's not All of Us Are Dead. I'll get the name. of it.
Okay, yeah, get that for us.
Yeah.
So, wait, before we move on, I have a follow-up question. At what point is that it for you? So, like, what would it take for you to give up? You know, because, okay, we've got our plan in order here, and you've seen in these movies, heck, like in I Am Legend, he loses the dog, and, you know, like, all these things happen. In The Last
Yeah.
of Us, a lot of stuff happens. But what does it take? What will it take for you to just be like, I'm done. Like, that's enough now.
Yo, I think probably if I went in this apocalypse with my fiance, I think if I lost her, I think that kind of would be like, there's no real
Yeah.
point. Now I'm gonna be alone. I'm gonna be a young Will Smith here, like just chatting to a doll, you know. There's not much that I could do. So I think probably that if I didn't go into this world with my fiance, I mean, I think you'll know, man. You'll just know, like, yeah, my time is now. I'm not eating. I'm not drinking. I can't fight.
Would you kill yourself, though, or you just wait to die?
I think I'd go out with a fight. You know, I'd go out into the world, fight some zombies. If they take me,
Hey,
they
like-
take me.
Full Will
You're gonna
Smith
gear
there.
up. I can see
Yeah.
you gearing up. You're putting on jackets, taking your knives, put the baseball bats on, and you're just going out there.
Yeah, if they take me, they take me, bro. It's fine.
Fair, Tev. You got
Nice.
a
Nice.
quitting time.
I think once I've run out of all the resources, really.
You
yeah,
want to try
and
find more?
if I have no means, look, so let's say every neighboring city has been taken over by the zombies. There's no means of getting into the cities. I've run out of resources. Bear Grylls hasn't helped me out, and I'm on my ace now. Yeah, then, then I think I tap out.
Okay, so
Uh,
even
I'll-
if you survive gunman on your ace, as long as you've got resources, you're good. You're still going.
I'll still go. Yeah, I'll still go.
Oh,
There must
sure.
be some. I need to get a dove carrier pigeon to send signals somewhere. I need to do something, man. There needs to be some kind of hope out there.
Okay.
But if I'm literally short on resources to live, then
that's it.
How about you?
Okay. I think I'm similar to Aaron. I think if Katya were to, if anything were to, because you know what I also realized, right? It's not just something happening to them, but most likely you would see it happen if you together, right? You're trying to
Yeah.
survive together, and if something had happened to that person, most likely you saw what happened, and there's no way that like it would be okay to see that. You know, I don't know if I could live with that memory. You know, because it's not like she's like, oh, I'm going to go get food and I'm going to let her go out on her ace and she never comes back, so I don't know what happened. If she's like, I'm
Yeah.
going to go get food and we go together and something happens and I survived, I don't know if I'd be able to, like, live with that. You know what I'm saying?
And would you be able to unalive your partner if they're the ones that have turned into the zombie now? Because you saw
Pop,
some of the
you're
things in
saying-
movies.
Like off them, just
Yeah.
You either off them or I guess you keep them. So in the one Korean drama, I actually think it.
You watch
so
a
this
lot of
one is
Korean
from the movie
dramas.
Alive. This dude he's
Promoting
living
it.
in his apartment, and his wife is turned right into
Okay,
a zombie, and
okay.
instead of letting her run loose or kicking or ending her, he's kept her in the room, and he gets people. He then feeds to her.
Oh, hectic.
That's love, man. That's love. So
In The Walking Dead, I know they do
Yeah.
the same thing. The guy keeps his family in like the barn outside for some
Yeah.
time, I think. And
There's
then,
a few episodes and seasons where they have one or two people keeping.
hey, I don't
what do
know.
you do?
Aaron,
What do you do, man?
you keeping her or what?
Nah, I think as I said, if that happened and technically I've lost my fiance, I think I'd then just become a zombie. And I don't know if you are aware that now you're both zombies, because now you can just be together
Like warm
as,
bodies.
as
Warm
zombies, you
bodies.
know.
I was just thinking of warm bodies, yeah.
You know, so I don't know, like, yeah, 'cause I don't know, like, the cognitive function in terms of, like,
You could
they
do some
fully
like
know,
romantic.
you know?
You could do some like romantic chain yourself together, and then it
Yeah.
doesn't matter what your cognitive abilities are. You're gonna be together, right? You chain
Yeah.
if you chain your
Yeah.
arms or your waist together. That's actually pretty romantic. Let it be
Yeah.
known that
Oh,
Aaron and I will be chaining ourselves to our zombie brides. Tevin doesn't care. Tevin, as long as he has food, he's going. He's
At
keeping.
least
Oh, we have a visitor.
survive.
Yeah.
Trust, at least
Nah,
he'll
this
gonna
guy's
survive.
survive.
sorry,
No shit. Okay, sick.
At least listen to this. You have survived. That's why we didn't have to even consider you being turned. You're a survivalist, so
Hey, nice one. Nice one.
just in case.
Okay.
anybody's as well.
It's nice to open with the question of the week. I like that. But now, as our current listeners should know, we do an accountability catch up, Tev and
yeah.
I.
Yes,
So what I want to do is, instead of the two of us, I mean, we can do our parts as well, but I wanted to ask audacious Aaron himself. We are sitting now, day of recording is 19th of February. Release day
Yeah.
will probably be a little bit later. Did you, it doesn't have to be New Year resolutions, but you know what, like Tev and I do, where we've spoken about like the things we're trying to do. So have you set something in motion, whether it be in the past 2 months, past 2 weeks, past 2 years, whatever it is that you've set for yourself that you are trying to keep up with? Can we hold you accountable, and to what, and what are you doing?
I mean, New Year's resolution is always a difficult one because we never stick to it. I don't think anyone does. And if you do, then congratulations to you. Because most people are like, let's say it's November, it's like, no, I'm going to stop smoking in January. I'll just stop tomorrow. Why are you waiting for January? So I've never really believed in that, because if I'm going to start, I'm going to start tomorrow or today. So, I mean, I've got the same goals always, you know, fitness goals, health related goals, you know, eat well, try and sleep well. I think when you're in a relationship, your goals tend to come together and you kind of forget about your own personal goals. So, I mean, I've been focusing a lot on like our goals, you know, like getting married, and just, you know, the wedding has kind of taken over a bit. So I don't really
does.
have too many. Yeah, like I wouldn't say it's consumed us, but I know we'll get to that. But you kind of forget about your own goals. So it's kind of the standard goals of just living healthy, you know, like going to gym still. I'm focusing on my business. So once in a couple while, I'll do something for the business, just to get it a bit further until I can release. So yeah.
Okay, and with that, is Imi your accountability partner? Who's kind of keeping you in check to either
Mostly
encourage you
her.
or ensure
She's,
that you are?
No, she's there, man. She definitely does like hold me accountable. Definitely does remind me to, you know, hey, today's the day. You said we're gonna do this, especially with gym. She's a lot better at going to gym than I am. You know, she's like, let's go today. I'm like, no, I'm tired. Shame. Let's go. So yeah, no, it's good. It's good to have a partner like that.
Yeah.
Okay, nice.
Yeah,
You
you need
hear, man.
Yeah, you need your partners to kind of keep you in check, you know, that it helps. It's kind of what, you know, Tev and I also try and do here, you know, like with this kind of stuff. Sometimes also we can be not soft on our partners, but we do, you know, like sometimes we are like a little bit more
lenient.
Yeah. So Tev and I always ask each other just to check in there. And this business that you mentioned, is that something you want to talk about or not really?
No, we can chat about it. I mean, it's nothing too intense. It's a beard care company, so beard oils, beard balms. My fiance actually gave me the idea. My idea was to buy beard oils and stuff from like China Mall, and then kind of just like not sell them as my own because that'd obviously be very illegal, but just like a resale thing. Like, hey, I've got beard oil, buy it
Like
from
drop
me.
shipping.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. And then she was like, why don't you just make your own? I looked into it. I wouldn't say it's very easy. It's actually very difficult because I don't want people to steal my idea. It's very hard. But like all jokes aside, it's actually very simple. You just got to figure out the right formulation, the right smells. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at now, just trying to get the right smells together. So I mean, and then obviously skin testing, making sure it's still, okay, I've got a couple people that I want to give it to, of just different standards of beards that they have, some short, some long, some curly. So yeah, we're going to kind of test it out with them.
Hey, and the people that are watching can see if there's anyone who you're going to trust with your beard, it's this man. You can see, like, I think I'm always proud of mine, but then I see this guy and I always like question myself. I'm like, hey, what's going on here?
Really?
So, hey,
Yeah, well, look,
all the
I
best.
wasn't-
And
Thank you, man. Well, look, I wasn't going to make a hair tonic, so it was,
fair enough, fair
yeah,
enough.
I didn't have much of a
Well
choice.
played. Well played. Yeah, Steve. No, that's brilliant. Ty, in keeping with accountability, how has your week gone? Have you done a bit more writing for us?
I have.
For those that might have missed out, Ty started his blog and his website, just another backpack. He showcased his first article with us of the roles that people play and why it's okay. Really, really good article. Something that I related to quite well. And it's a really such an evergreen thing, like you said. So it's a constant thing that I'm working to understand. And
Yeah.
I also loved how you say that certain people serve certain roles during specific periods or certain times. So it's not stagnant. It's not almost set in stone. It's very fluid in how it can change and kind of the purposes they serve.
Hey, so yeah, I appreciate that. That's nice of you actually to say that. So I have been writing some more. I've really been working on, and I'm really trying. It was a tough week, so I've been writing this Arsenal piece about why it's been such a pleasure being an Arsenal fan in 2023. But I didn't want it to be like, oh, we're on top of the log, so that's why it's fun, right? It's also, I wanted to have longevity in the sense of like, I'm really actually trying not to talk specifically about this season. It's more about like contextualizing the past 20 years, and then there's certain key points as to what's making it so nice to be an Arsenal fan. But as we know, Arsenal lost to Manchester City on Wednesday night, and it became very, very, it became super tough to continue writing it. I won't lie. Every time I sat down to do it, I was like I've been questioning the role Arsenal plays in my life and why it's so important to me, because I was like, I'm sad. I was so sad this week. Like, my students couldn't even tease me. I wasn't having it. I was like, and normally I'm chilled, but I wasn't having it. But then we played well. Last night was a cracker of a match. So I'm almost done with it. And I'm going to be releasing it this week. But my accountability that I think I did was to make this episode happen, to kind of coordinate between the three of us to kind of make this special episode happen. And that's where I'll take my flowers. And what about you, Tev? Wait, what you got for us after that beautiful poem last week? What have you got for us this
So
week?
in keeping with the creative writing and having those juices flow, I've come up with a few synopsi for a few shows, a few TV shows. Just been spitballing, writing a few ideas down.
We're gonna review
just yet.
We're gonna review them here.
Yeah, I'll give you guys a shout once I've kind of narrowed it down, crossed the T's, dotted I's, and then you can let me know if you think it's a
You're not giving us anything.
Now, okay, I can give you an idea.
Like the pilot,
So the
just like a young
one-
pilot episode.
The one is similar to Modern Family, but in like a South African context, and we see the difference in how generations raise their kids and kind of what it's like to raise 20 or Gen Zs in this modern era. So we see all the
Okay.
cultural differences, kind of the similarities. We explore those themes.
Okay.
Once I've written a bit more, I'll share it over
Okay.
here, and you guys can let me know if you think it's a plausible show, if it's something to watch, or if you think it's absolute hot garbage. But I'll share it. I'll take you through it next week.
Okay.
So that's been my
Okay, sweet.
account.
That's your accountability. Hey, you're
Yeah.
doing the most, man. Screenplays and everything. Damn.
That's right.
Remember, we have to make an animation or something for the big vibe at some
Exactly.
point.
That would be cool.
Worked on.
Yeah, I don't know how it
That
would
would
look,
be cool.
especially we're still small fries at the moment, but I'm sure we'll come up with something. So
This could be the
For those-
episode, man.
this could be the one. You know,
This
it
could be
just
the one.
takes
It just takes you over,
You
man.
need a
Takes you
catalyst, man, and I see.
Up and above, man.
Yeah, for sure. With your face, Aaron, I'm sure we can make it somewhere, man.
Come on.
So, for those people that don't know that are listening, normally it's our friends and family and some outliers that we don't really know us personally. But Aaron recently got engaged a couple of months ago. Now I know, particularly that this is quite an important thing. Both Aaron and I have we've always been relationship guys. We always talk about it actually. And it was, for me, I was like, obviously he's, one of my best mates, and I was exceptionally happy that this had happened. And we're going to get to asking him some questions in a moment. But I found on Reddit, we've done this segment before of the I Read It First section. And it is the Am I the Asshole scenario. So I want to read this scenario about these people that are planning a wedding, and I want to get your guys' feelings. Tev, you'll know why this one applies to you directly. Aaron, it applies to you. Aaron, it applies to you because you're planning your wedding. So I'll read it for you. So basically it goes like this. My fiance is short. His height is always... My bad. Okay, I start again. My fiance is short. His height has always been a source of insecurity for him, and he takes others' comments too seriously. With our wedding approaching, he asked if I'd consider wearing flat shoes at the wedding. I was confused, very confused. I asked if he was joking, but he went on a rant about how he doesn't want to be made fun of at his own wedding, and that if I choose to wear high heels, then he would look awkward in the photos and in front of the guests. I refused, and he kept calling me a selfish and inconsiderate, and said that I prioritized a pair of high heels over his comfort and happiness for the big day. He had his mom involved, and she is pushing me to reconsider. When I refused to discuss it, she said that my unwillingness to cooperate is a huge indicator of my level of maturity. She then went on a long rant about what lengths real wives are willing to go to help out their husbands, and said that I'm apparently too immature and shallow to be committed in a marriage if I make such an issue out of it. Am I being selfish? It's not just that I want, but the high heels help make the wedding dress look better, and I feel like I deserve to look my best at my own wedding, just like every bride's dream. His insecurity is preventing me from getting that. Am I the asshole? So just to clarify some of the questions, basically she says that the guests that he was talking about that were making fun of him are his male friends and the men in his family. They comment on his height all the time, call him names like Shorty, Koala, Lil D, and Hobbit. They even have a list of jokes about him. And then she says she's only slightly taller, but she doesn't want to make it a bigger difference. And she said, we had similar arguments about his height issue before, but this is the first time he asks me not to wear heels. Other times he lets me wear them, but sometimes refuses to attend events with me. So let's first ask Aaron, how's this guy dealing? What's your thoughts on this whole thing?
Look, man, we know women in high heels, so let's start there. Like, high heels are important to women, whether they enjoy wearing them or not. Like, high heels add something to women. I don't know what it is. They like the way their legs look. It makes them feel like this and like that. And especially on a wedding day, I think you have to literally just have to keep it in, man. You just have to keep whatever quarrels you have, just keep it in, get through the day. It is what it is. I mean, I know you have to, how do I say it, like, kind of come together, and compromise, but it sounds like she's compromised enough, like going to an event without your partner, and it's like, why isn't your partner here? And it's like, nah, you was feeling short today. Like what must like what must happen, you know? Like
I'm sure.
so. I mean, I think he needs to own it. Like I think he just needs to own his height. You know, go to gym, build yourself wide. You know, you can't be 6 feet tall, be 6 feet wide. It's fine. So yeah, I think that's,
They also,
that's just what it is.
I know some of the people in the comments were talking about you get these dress shoes that men can wear that
like a
elevate
rise
your
on.
height. Yeah, basically. So I
And
thought
stuff
that was
he can
also,
do. Oh.
yeah, there is. And the first thing while I was reading this, and when he was like, he asked her to wear flats. Now I'm
flats,
trying
so,
to, yeah, I'm trying to imagine a wedding dress with flats on. I don't,
You
maybe
can't.
I don't know about the style, but Tev, what's your thoughts?
Man, as a short king,
Short
let me
king?
just say, as representative of the short kings out there, I can understand him asking it. Cool, fair enough. You guys need to have that transparency in your relationship. I think offside by going through his mom to have her kind of fight this battle for it.
That's tough.
Like we said in the previous episode, there needs to be some kind of compromise. It's no wedding without the we. You can't spell wedding without a we. So it is a team effort, and they need to come to some kind of compromise. For him, I think I can respect that he asked it because he's voicing his feelings and his opinion on it. But if she's also like steadfast and like, this is the one day that I'm asking you to wear my heels, please just allow me to do so, and he can play it off, man, I'd then almost lean in to the banter of it. So if it was me, and funny enough, Lisa
It
wore
was
flats
you.
to our wedding.
Oh,
I didn't ask it. She is just that kind of thoughtful person that we were on the kind of level pegging height-wise for the day. So photos, it looked great, obviously, and it didn't deter from our wedding day. We still had a great wedding day. Walking down the aisle, she still felt as beautiful as she looked. But like I said, if my wife wants to wear heels and this is her day, I'm going to give it to her. And I'll lean into the banter of it. I'll have a little stool at the end of the aisle. So when she comes and it's time to hold hands before the officiator or the pastor, I'll get one of my groomsmen to bring out a little stool. I'll step on the stool and then we'll be the same height. So you can almost, decide how you want to play it. If you can't find compromise of not wearing high heels, then lean into it, give her day, and just chat with the photographer. How can we make this work where if you're using the right angles, it's not too noticeable? We can both be seated. I don't know. There's workarounds for it. But I think the conversation definitely needs to be had, and I appreciate that they're both open to stating what they're comfortable with and kind of where they.
I think it's like you said, it's all about controlling the narrative, right? In that case, like you control the story that's going to be told about it. I'm not so sure how I feel about that stool thing, to be honest, but hey, man, it's your wedding, bro.
Stool or tiptoes? Stool or tiptoes?
Hey, stool. I'm wearing platforms, cuz I'm wearing those extended shoes.
Flats, bro.
Spice Girls
Stilettos,
sketches.
bro.
We're just gonna-
Stilettos. Yeah, I'm up there. I'm up. So okay, so I think I think I agree. Calling the mom in was offside. It just felt weak. I can't believe he did that. But in keeping with this, I know we had a couple of questions that we wanted to run by Aaron. Tev and I know firsthand. We planned our own weddings. We both had. Tev did more of a COVID situation that he had to work through. I had a situation where we planned and did our wedding in 4 months. I think it took us to do everything. So because we were moving overseas, so we had different scenarios. But Tev, I want you to maybe you can lead us into the questions.
Yes. So I guess more often than not, we're always going to ask the question, and we actually asked this question last week. How do you know when you found the one before you make that big bold step? Get down on one knee and ask the question. How do you know this is your person? How do you know that this is going to be the person that you spend the rest of your life with? What was the sign? What was the moment?
Was there an aha moment, or was it just something that developed over time, or what?
It's quite difficult, man, because I think it's actually quite simple. It's when you know, like I've been in relationships before for 4 or 5 years, and never really like, there wasn't that like, I know, and then when we met, it was pretty much, quite an immediate attraction to just, I know that this is the person that I want to be a husband to, so I always wanted to be a husband, but being a husband to someone is obviously a very different, scenario and situation. So I think you just know, like it's easy. It just happens. So everything just happened. It happened accordingly. It went, we didn't really stick to a plan, but if we did, we were ahead of the plan. We would have been married by now if we could. It's just, unfortunately, the way the circumstances played out, we're getting married next year. So I think it's as simple as when you know, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Just that innate feeling in you that.
Yeah, it's just there.
It's almost that.
Yeah.
Okay. No, very nice. And I actually wanted to ask you guys, and it's such an interesting thing that I found. Like, before I got to the point of engagement, being married, etc., I always thought that being married was almost like the end game, the end goal. Once you're married, then it's done. Like almost in the lead up to life. Obviously, you have kids and start a family, etc. But it was always seen as the finish line in my eyes. Like, I've married, cool, I've made it. I've kind of elevated myself to this adult lifestyle now. In terms of adulting, there's a few things, bits and bobs that you can do along the way. But when you're married, you've kind of made it in life. Did you guys also see it like that? And if so, has it changed for you, Tyler? Aaron, is that still something, or kind of the perception you see it as? Because I think for me, being married now, it's still this continuous kind of fluid process. It's not as, what can I say, as
stagnant and just
or framed or solidified as, cool, I've made it. Now that's it.
Yeah. Well, let me before I answer that question, let me ask Aaron, do you feel like your relationship has changed since you've gotten engaged?
Oh, good question.
Within yourself, maybe?
Yeah.
We actually argue less now that we're engaged. I don't know if that's because we're engaged or just
circumstance.
But not really. I think you feel a bit more responsibility as a partner now, because I think it might not land well with some people, but losing a girlfriend is a little bit easier than losing a fiance. Like breaking up with a girlfriend versus calling off a wedding. So you feel a lot more responsible, which is a good
And then
thing.
I guess same thing with breaking up and getting divorced, right?
Yeah.
So then it gets a bit more complicated. I think what happened for me was I kind of felt like that kind of commitment that we took to each other did impact. I felt, not that I ever felt unsafe in my relationship, but there's a weird sense of security that I got when we took that step, when it was like, okay, like we agree that we want to get married. I felt calmer, if that makes sense. I don't know if I just felt easy within myself. And then Tev, to answer your question, I kind of did have a similar kind of, I'm big now. I'm an adult. Like I'm here now. I made it. And then obviously since then, I don't know if it's purely because of getting married or moving overseas when we did shortly after getting married. All those things made a big difference. But it's not that I thought it would be stagnant, but I did kind of see it as like a end game not finish line. It's difficult to explain, but I did see that. I do. But the amount of work, effort, and everything that has gone into it since that point, it's undeniable. It really is undeniable. But we'll have this conversation with Aaron in a year, maybe a year and a half, and we can ask him. But tell us, how is the planning going? What has surprised you about this planning process, maybe?
I think
I
think everyone will agree with this. It's the financials. Oof, bro, it is it's shocking, right? And where we're getting married, it's one of the most like prestigious venues in Joburg, maybe even South Africa. It's not really, we're getting married at Shepstone Gardens, so it's not really a secret or anything, but it's just, man, they like, the venue's like, oh, that's not a bad price for the venue, and then they charge you like 85 Rand for a napkin, and I'm like, just,
Make sure.
Why put your shirt? Why put your hat?
110 rand for like a set of knives and forks and cutlery, and I'm like, this is, I get it, but it's how you guys were talking about Valentine's and I think Christmas and stuff. You guys said that everything goes up. The minute you say, oh, it's for Valentine's, they're like, oh, you know what, I'm going to put an extra 50 rand on you.
Yeah.
If you go to a photographer, they normally like, let's say, $400-500, and now all of a sudden, it's for a wedding. Oh,
it's for a wedding, yeah.
Maybe like 50K, okay.
Yeah.
So I understand it. I mean, I think it's the second or third biggest money making, I don't want to say scheme, but like biggest thing in the world, is weddings. It's like literally, I think, multi-billion-dollar, industry.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just the finance. I don't think everything else is kind of expected. I mean, we see it in movies. We've been surrounded by people getting married our whole lives, but I think when you're in it financially, you really, that's when you start to like really feel it.
Okay.
I remember I found the same thing. I found not just the finances, but how everything, like certain things that you expect to be included just aren't.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, but if I come for dinner, you don't charge me for all these things. If I come and eat here, you're not going to charge me for every plate that you put down.
Yeah.
You're not going to charge. I understand you're charging me for food and venue hire and all those things. I get it. But you don't charge me for like a knife and fork when I come for dinner. Why are you charging me for a knife and fork this time? That really did shock me. And are you finding how's your family being involved heavily? Not as much as you'd like?
Actually, the right amount, man. I mean, it's pretty much just been Imi and I. I mean, we're literally doing this by ourselves. We have a wedding coordinator person, but that's on the day and only 5 weeks before the wedding. And then on the day of the wedding. So it's literally just us. Because we also saw the price of a wedding plan, and we're like, I can pay me for this. It's fine.
Yeah.
A salary.
Like I can Google it. It's fine. Like so they're not really, they're not really intruding in any way. That's not bringing any intrusiveness. It's just, it's literally just been us. It's just been us. Yeah.
Okay, nice. And what have you found to be some of the fun, the joyous parts, like in the planning? Were you guys getting inspiration for what you want to see in terms of like decor, that kind of? Did you have an idea? Board. This is Aaron's wedding board. Did you have an idea of what you want your wedding to look like? Also, are there some elements that you've communicated to Imi to say, at my wedding, I want these things, A, B, and C, and then she'd obviously come with her set of ideas for the wedding, and then you guys discuss that? Or are you kind of like, you know what, as long as I'm there with the love of my life, that's all that counts. I'll help you do the planning. But where do you kind of stand on that?
Pretty much the latter, man. I always tell her, look, tell me when it is and where it is, I'll be there, Like, I'm happy to be there. I didn't really, let's be serious, men aren't as like into weddings as women are. I mean, women have been planning their weddings since they were like 9. Like they've had a vision board when they were 9, and they had their wedding dress set out. And I mean, so I think Imi came with a lot more ideas. I had my input in terms of like colors that I'd like, certain, I think just small things like music and the dancing and stuff like that, but nothing decor. What's been fun is we went to a wedding expo, I think 3 weeks ago. Actually at where you got married, Charlotte, at Oakfield, I think it was.
Yeah. Oakfield.
Nice.
So we went there. They actually had a whole wedding expo. That was super fun. We had a great time. It was a bit difficult because that expo was for 2023. So we went there already having a photographer, already having her wedding dress. My suit is still in the talking suit, but we had 80% of the stuff. So we just went there just to experience it, just to see what it would be like. So, but most of our ideas have just come off Pinterest or, seeing a young wedding video on TikTok and being like, oh, that's a really cool idea that I think we should implement in ours,
Nice.
Really cool, man. Nice.
I like that. No, I really like that. I think it's really cool to go to those wedding expos. I think also must be quite fun. Like you said, even though you don't necessarily know exactly, I mean, you already know a lot of the things that I'm sure it still helped going there, and just kind of seeing like what's out there. And if that's the good things, has there been any particular challenging moments that have arisen, or is it all daisies and all peachy?
I think we've actually been quite lucky as a couple. We haven't butted heads yet. We haven't argued about the wedding. I think we've had small like disagreements where it's been more just about particular wedding songs, like choosing it for the
first dance, that kind of thing.
like the first dance, the garments and things like that. But other than that, I mean, I think it's actually been pretty well, man. Like we haven't argued, which is, I think they say that like your wedding planning is kind of like your make or break in your engagement. Like a lot of couples end up splitting up and stuff, and I think we're quite blessed in that aspect.
Yeah,
that's good.
I've also, I think so. I mean, just do your wedding dance to Sister Bettina and you're good, man. There's no need for any other negotiations. The big vibe got you. We'll decide these things for you if you don't know what to do.
Man, I'm marrying a dancer, man. I'm marrying a dancer, so I have to. I have to dance, man.
Nice.
She's marrying a dancer. What do you mean?
She's a professional dancer, man. She gets paid for this, man. I just have people watching me, man.
Well, that's nice. So you're going to have a coordinated dance. I will say it's also really cool to do a coordinated dance. Like if I'm taking Tyler's wedding as an example, he
Tyler
blew it out the water,
man.
man.
That was crazy.
Like, everyone was just beside themselves with how good a first dance that was. And that was amazing. And it's nice that you guys have this open dialogue, man. So if you find any new ideas or inspiration, you're like, actually, I want the bridal party to wear these colors to match my groomsmen. And also, I found that there's so many, like you said, Tyler, there's so many elements to a wedding. Like, ordinarily, I thought you'd have at least 5 groomsmen at a wedding. And I guess there's so much leeway in that as well. You can have 1 person, you can have 2, you can have 7.
I've got 7.
But looking to then coordinate that, like, it's so interesting how many just different aspects there are to a wedding.
For sure.
But what would I'd ask, aside from obviously marrying the love of your life on the day, what else are you kind of looking forward to with a wedding day? Because people sometimes downplay it just to say, your wedding is going to last 20 seconds. Don't put too much focus in one element when it's over in the blink of an eye. So as a groom, I know, like you said, women generally have a bit more, let me call it,
skin in the game, like more like more like focus on the small details.
What you looking forward to most on the wedding day?
I think the biggest thing that I'm waiting for is to honestly see her walk down the aisle. Like I'm super keen for that moment. Like just seeing her walk in. I think after that, it's literally just going to be a celebration. That's certainly what we're going for. Our wedding is going to be quite early in terms of like what a wedding normally is. So we'll try and have everything done by about like 2:30, get photos done by like 4, and then we can start everything because we want the party to be longer than everything else. Because at most weddings, you finish eating 7, 8 o'clock, wedding speeches are going on, and then you start dancing at 8, and then 12 o'clock, they're like, cool, you guys need to...
Yeah.
Because I'm not paying like 3,000 Rand for an extra hour, So, like, so, but we'll be partying from like, 5, 6 o'clock to midnight. So I think for us, our wedding is more for a celebration. If the wedding was about us, we would honestly get married at like home affairs. We've often spoken about it. Literally, just being like, let's just get married somewhere.
Save the money.
It wasn't. It's not saving the money, but also we would regret it. It's like what happens if we did have such a nice big wedding. Like it's nice to have that. Show your your kids one day. Hopefully they can gain inspiration from it as well, and see their mom and dad like be married in such an extravagant event. So I think that's pretty much what we're waiting for.
I like it. And we also, I'm sure Tev feels the same way. We obviously also had the same chats like, are we really doing the right thing? We could save money by doing this, we can do that. Not are we doing the right thing by getting married? Of course, we feel like we did. But like, should it really be like this? And ours wasn't necessarily that big, but, afterwards, we both kind of feel like it was well worth everything that we put into it. And, it's, I'd never ever recommend, from my experience, recommend to someone, don't bother, just go sign the papers and use the money elsewhere, because it's not, it's about much more than that, you know. But I thought we would also open up a little bit of space for you. Tev has been married now about a year over. How long, Tev?
man.
What?
Yeah, a year and we
Hey,
in
that's right,
Feb.
man.
Okay, so like a year and 2 months.
A year and 2 months. I've been 3 and a bit. And we thought maybe we would ask you if you have any questions that you'd like to ask us.
Okay, I think I've got two quite interesting ones. I'll fire off, I think, just the one, and then I'll go to the next one. So, for both of you guys, just your 3 top priorities as a husband.
Tev?
Should I go first? Okay. Sure. Hitting some great hard-hitting question. 3 priorities as a husband. A revelation that I got once being married. We always say family is key. Family is so instrumental to having a great relationship. And when you get married, you've now started your own family. So in and amongst the greater families that are coming together, yours, Emmy's, in that you have you guys. So I think prioritize yourself. So almost think of it like rings. There's you two, is your first ring. Then you get one day when you have your kids, that's your second ring. And then thirdly is your greater family. And then we get like your extended family, friends, etc. But prioritize and always be honest. Never go to bed angry with your partner. Never. Always be honest. Look to have transparent communication. Remember that you need to have each other's backs, and then enjoy it. Enjoy it. Marriage is honestly one of the greatest things. I think I always wondered why it is that some people choose not to get married. Let's say have a life partner. They ask the question, why get married as opposed to just having a life partner? You guys are already kind of pulling towards the same thing. What's so different about it? And I think there's just a level of trust, responsibility, love that you can only experience in a marriage. I think that bond, that connection, that accountability is something that goes far and beyond what my idea of what commitment and what a partnership actually looks like. And this isn't just because it's down to a legal piece of paper. In marriage, it's just a relationship that is elevated to a whole nother degree. And I think you're going to experience it, man. It's like insane. It's amazing.
Quite like that. Yeah. I think, to be honest with you, like, I think Tev basically took all 100 reasons from me before I can even say it. But what I will say, I'll add one more that I think, what I've kind of learned, is, I know you asked, the question is more like, what do we prioritize, you know, as being a husband? And, you know, I would say 2 things really is my priority within my marriage. The first one is building a safe space. And I think it's actually quite challenging being let's be honest, being a 21st, or what are we in, 22nd century, 21st century male. You know, it's kind of like, sometimes you get the feeling of being ashamed of your masculinity to an extent, because of the way everything that's going on in the world around you. And as soon as you say something like keeping or building a safe space, it's like, oh, you're toxic because it's not your job to make safety just because you're a man. But what I mean by this is, like, you need to create, I feel as if you need that person, your partner needs to know that you, like Tev said, have got their back, but that they need to feel comfortable at home. And whatever it takes for you to create safety within your space, you have to do that thing. So whether your problems are, let's say you live in more of a dangerous area, for example, you need to take the steps to make sure that house is safe. Now, if that looks like getting a dog, putting up alarm systems, so there's that kind of safety, like physical safety. But at the same time, there's like emotional safety. You know, you need to create that space where you should never be saying you're ridiculous for crying or anything. They need to feel, your partner needs to feel safe. And when they feel safe, they feel loved. For me, it's synonymous, safety and love.
Yeah.
And then the second thing is also that I feel that we need to remember as husbands or as partners in general is that your partner is also only a human being. And what starts to happen after some time is that our expectations, the more time you spend together and the longer you are together, your expectations of that person rise, you know, and I actually spoke about it in that blog, but it's very, very related to marriage. They rise. So you expect your partner to know you so well, right? Imi knows you better than anyone. Lisa knows you better than anyone. And we expect that level of understanding to be consistent. And if they get it wrong, it's very hurtful. It's like, how could you do that? You know me. How can you say that? You're supposed to know me. But at the end of the day, they are only a human being. Just like if you forget to make a mistake, you know, you don't expect to be held to that, like, you can't make mistakes. So remembering that that person can make mistakes, they can snap at you, they can get annoyed at you, they can break something by an accident or do something that really annoys you a lot. You just have to be soft and just like respect that person as a human being before respecting them as a wife. And then it kind of builds up from there, would be my two things that I would say on top of Tevin's big list. And your second question, fire it at us. We'll try to be quick with the answer.
Second one is proudest achievements as a husband.
Whew. Tyler, you can take this one first.
Within the context of the marriage.
Yeah, I think just not necessarily your proudest achievement as a couple, but your proudest achievement that you've accomplished while being a husband.
Okay. Yeah, so I got one actually that I can really relate to here. So as both of you know, I have a bit of a history with various substances and etc. And it's always been something that has been present in my life. And then 2 years ago in May, when Chelsea won the Champions League final, actually was the night, I stopped drinking. And that was kind of the last vice that I had. And there were multiple reasons that I did it. But one of them was that it was impacting, you know, like my marriage. 100% it was impacting my marriage. And I guess what I was very proud of is that, look, if we were to get divorced, knock on wood, tomorrow, I wouldn't necessarily start drinking again, right? So it's not the thing that makes me really proud is not just that I stopped doing it, but is that I was able to understand that, because Katya never told me that I have to stop drinking, right? She never said that to me, right? She just said to me like, look, man, this is becoming an issue for me. And I was really proud that I was able to come to the realization and to make the decision that I needed to make, to put everything else aside and just focus on, okay, but why? This person cares about me. What is it about this thing that's bothering her? You know, like you can have the old arguments of like, oh, this is how you found me, so what's the problem? You know, like I am who I am. But one of my proudest things is that I was able to realize that needed to be my priority. My health, our future, not just my future, not just her future, but our future, all three things together. I needed to make that commitment towards that kind of change in my life. And since then, I felt the benefits of it in many, many different aspects of my life. I mean, but this is not an AA meeting, and I'm not here to try and tell people to stop drinking. But for me, I felt like it's just been one of the things that I am most proud of in that time that I've managed to achieve. And starting the Big Vibe.
Hey. Yeah, that's honestly amazing, and also very inspirational, not just to see the commitment to yourself, but the commitment to relationship in what you're intentionally willing to change and let go of. I'd say for me, the biggest accomplishment is being vulnerable. I'm generally quite a guy that's, I've been told I'm quite mysterious because I don't always share like feelings and always give my opinion. Ty and I spoke about this a few episodes back about kind of living up to a persona or an image or a legend, if you will, to be that guy. If I've previously been known as, okay, he's the good listener, great, that's a pin in my hat. But I think I've been able to be a lot more comfortable, a lot more vulnerable with Lisa, and that's just helped me in my personal growth in being a better communicator. So I've always been a good listener. Great, I can hear people outpour for days on end, but it's always been quite restrictive in how much I share and the lengths at which I share. So I'd say in looking to be a better husband, a better partner, a better friend, being vulnerable, opening up, talking through, insecurities, kind of what I feel areas are that I need improvement on, that kind of thing. And just sharing this with Lisa has been a life-changing thing. So being vulnerable has, I'd say, been my biggest accomplishment, because it just flows into so many other areas of what makes our relationship really good.
Hey, I like those. We need to ask Aaron this question in 2 years' time. We need to ask him what has been.
Yeah, you can. I don't know if they'll be as deep as your guys, but we'll see.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how
yeah.
these things happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think those are really great questions. Nice one, man. Yo, wow, you really got me introspecting with that. So now let's bring it. We've gone super deep down. Let's bring it up a little bit there. And I don't have any friends especially from South Africa, that watch the NBA except for Aaron. And now that is probably because of the time difference. If I'm honest,
yeah, man,
I know
it's hard, man. It's hard.
Yeah. So I know that it's quite a difficult thing for that time zone. So like for me, I watch the games are in the morning, so it actually works out pretty nicely for me. It's often 6 o'clock in the morning, or 8 o'clock in the morning, or 10 o'clock in the morning. Saturday mornings, sometimes it's nice to watch an NBA game. But Aaron, he watches the NBA. Now, for those of the people that don't know, NBA has also like a transfer. They don't have a transfer like month or window. They kind of keep it open.
Yeah.
But it closes in February. I can't remember the exact date, but it does close in February. And now they had probably one of the craziest, according to the things that I've read, one of the craziest sort of deadline days. And NBA is always a little bit difficult or a little bit different, because like in the Premier League or in football, you buy a player and that's all you got to do, right? You pay the money and he comes.
Yeah.
Whereas NBA, there's a lot more financial rules, like your roster can only have X amount of players. You can only be spending a certain amount of players, certain amounts of money. And as a result, you often see a lot more trades, which also is hectic. Like you can just get traded. 1 minute you're living in New York, tomorrow they phone you, they're like, my man, you're moving to Toronto, you've been traded. Like you got to serve your contract no matter where it is. So I wanted to ask Aaron, well, before I ask Aaron, Tev, you don't watch anything with the NBA. Who's winning this season?
What about it? Just jumped in and said Lakers just because of LeBron. Let's go. Let's say Cavs. Why not? Let's say Cavs.
Okay.
I mean,
fair.
yeah.
If Spider comes back, there's maybe they actually haven't been playing too badly.
They top,
you guys,
they
were
top
you
four.
guys
They top four.
touting to take the title?
Aaron, who you got?
Right now I've got the Suns. I know if they are viewers and listeners there, they might not agree with me, but I think the Suns for the last 2-3 years, I mean, they've been in the playoffs, they've gotten quite far. They were missing, they were missing a key element, and I don't think that they knew what it was until they got Kevin Durant. So I think now that they have him, they lacked a little bit in a center, the Suns. And now with Kevin being there, not that he's particularly a center, but I mean, he's 7 foot. He's, he can do everything. I mean, I don't want to go into like his skill level and stuff, but I think that with him being there, they pretty much have everything they need.
But what about the Mavs signing Kyrie? Not enough.
The Mavs, I think, where they are. I think I've got to check. They're 6th, so they're just behind the Suns. I don't see the Suns or the Mavs finishing like in the top 3 seeds, just because the Nuggets are so far ahead, man. I mean, I think right now where we sit, they're like 41 games win.
41-18.
And I don't know if people know, but like it doesn't work with points and stuff. It's literally strictly games. Like games won, that's what gets you to the top. And I think the next team under that has got 35 games, which is
35.
So no one's catching them, man. I mean, I think the Nuggets will definitely get the first seed, but I think with the Mavs, they'll do some damage. They did some damage last year. I think they swept the team last year, or they came pretty close. I know they did relatively well. And I think now with Kyrie, I think it's going to be quite
So
a
you
good-
think Kyrie was a good signing for them?
I think he was. I know you and I discussed like ball in hand players, like with Doncic being a very ball in hand player and wanting the ball, but I think he had no choice. I mean, who was he giving the ball to? Like, he didn't have a choice but to
That's fair.
take that and do it. I mean, the guy dropped multiple 40-point games, 50-point games. So you do that when you don't have other options, you know?
Yeah.
Like, LeBron's not necessarily doing that right now because he kind of has other options to get more points. You know, they've got teammates, you know, like in the Nets, you know, both Kyrie and Kevin were, you know, distributing between points because they had each other. So Doncic never really had anyone to like distribute to and get those points. So I think with Kyrie and him being there,
Fair enough, yeah. But so let me ask you this on the West before we move to the East. Do you think the Lakers are going to make it to the playoffs? They're 13th right now.
Yeah,
They had
13th.
they did well. I would say they really shaped up their team. They made some really good moves, and they look pretty good. They slapped someone up the other day, and they really look quite sick. They were quite entertaining to watch.
They did well.
But who do you think they can make it up to the eighth?
They're a bit worrisome, man, because I think they beat the Spurs. I think recently, I think that's who they slapped. And I mean, if you look at that, I mean, that's the Spurs, bro. They lost. Like the Spurs are,
Yeah,
you know,
they beat the
but
Pelicans.
I think they're playing the Spurs team, or they did play the Spurs as well. Like the teams that they're beating, it's not teams that you need to be beaten, man. Like they're losing to these teams where, like, if you look at like the betting odds, it's like the Lakers are like 1.1 to win because like they should win, you know?
Yeah.
So but I don't see them. I don't know if they still have the play-in tournament.
They do 9 and 10
so
playing.
maybe they'll make it there, but I mean, Warriors are sitting at 9. They'll probably go up a bit. So maybe play-in tournaments, and then depending who they face in the play-in tournaments,
They could go through.
Yeah.
And what
on
about
Lakers quickly?
Yeah.
I just want to ask you guys. So obviously, LeBron broke the all-time scoring record.
He did.
Where do you see him going before he calls time on his career? How many points do you assume he'll kind of get to?
Well, what's he at now?
You
So
have
he's
to
like
rough
39,
38,300, something like that.
So
He'll reach
I
40.
see him. Yeah, no, he'll break 40 easily. He's got another. He's openly said he's got another 2 to 3 years because he wants to play with his son.
Bronny. Yeah.
And I think Bronny's far from the NBA, man. Like 3,
I think
4
2 years.
I think.
2
3 years.
or
Yeah.
3 years drafting, yeah.
And that's if.
Yeah.
You know, like he gets, you know, because he's not like the greatest prospect, unfortunately. Like, so I mean, he's got another 2-3 years. I mean, if he's still averaging like 25, he won't play 82 games. So I mean, he'll probably end like 40, 41.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know if that'll be broke. Did you guys actually see that moment when he broke the record?
I did.
It was so weird, man. What like why did they can you imagine? I know it was a huge deal. Don't get me wrong.
But
But there was
stop
still
the whole
10
game.
seconds left. There was still 10 seconds left in the third quarter. At least finish the quarter. Like, I understand it was a huge deal. And I understand the record has stood for 40 years. Kareem looked really sour, by the way. Understandably as well. But, man, there was just like a 10-minute break. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. What did you guys think of that whole, like, stopping the game for it?
Yeah, I think they could have run out that clock. I mean, it's 10 seconds. Like, I
10
mean, you take your
seconds.
you take your young break like you normally do. You know, give your praise and stuff. I think also I think that's the thing with NBA is like when something gets broken or something happens, like they just stop everything.
Yeah.
I would just do it at the end of the game, man. Like, no one's gonna leave. You know, like finish the game. You've still got a job to do. Your job wasn't like to help LeBron get, you know, to break the record. You know, your job is there to win as a team, and they lost anyway.
They lost, yeah.
They still lost. You know, so like, and who's to say? Maybe it could have been that 10 minutes that they took. You know. Break momentum. Who knows what happens? The players chill. They get tired. So just finish the game, man. Just finish the game and do what you need to do after the game.
Yeah, I'd be money if I'm the opposing team as well. Like, let's say it's a close game and I'm on the up and up, or say it's like a 2-point difference. If you stop now, I'd be so mad, bro. That's honestly, you're taking my time, yeah. We'll save this for afterwards, man. Like, you'll get your flowers, 100%. But let's focus on the game at hand here, bro.
I mean, the guys that they were playing against they were just all, obviously everyone was just full of praise, and it's just like, we're just so happy to be a part of history, because it is. Like this record has stood for so long. I think the current of any other active players, there must be like 10,000 or 12.
They're even more, man. I don't know what they were saying. They were saying, like, I think if Kevin Durant played every game for the next, like, 6 years or something, he still wouldn't even come close.
Yeah. So
it would have to be a new player right now coming in. So starting as a rookie and then just continuing.
Killing it,
But any active player right now in the NBA, there's no way.
They can't. Yeah. So I do get that it was a big deal. It just felt super. I hate saying it like this, but it was super like advertising moment. Like, let's make sure it's all glitz and glam. Like, the court was just packed with people. I'm like, where's the rules and regulations, guys? Come on. You have to follow some sort of structure here. But I mean, it was big, and it was actually really, I know he was practicing the sky hook. That really would have been crazy to get it. But it really was something really crazy. And, much like the Messi and Ronaldo debate, like, we're just witnessing greatness. And I think that is phenomenal. But let me quickly just check in with Aaron here. On the East side, we've got the Celtics, the Bucks. Any of those guys that you think can go through and win it?
Bucks always for me. I think Bucks will always, like, I'm always surprised if they're not in the final,
Yeah.
Celtics, I really like the Celtics chances, but they're young. I don't know how to explain it, man. They don't have like a leader that has some kind of experience. I know like the Bucks have like Adetokounmpo only, and I mean he's
Middleton
still young
and Drew Holiday, but
I think so. They have like a sense of like superiority and just someone supervising and stuff. I think the Celtics is just a young group of really good players. They're kind of like the Suns. I know the Suns has Chris Paul now and stuff, but like the experience in the NBA Finals and stuff right now, obviously shit, man, when they were with Bill Russell winning 11 titles in a row, or, like winning 11 titles, like back then, they were forced to be reckoned with. Now, like, they just, I don't know, man, they're young. I don't think they really know how to handle, like an NBA final, like.
So we know they made it to at least the Eastern Conference final last year. It'll be interesting to see, because their record is also pretty mad with 42 and 17.
Yeah, 42,
the Bucks are right behind them on 41 and 17. So, I mean, it's like, the East seems a little like closer as well. But I mean, it's been a, I'll be honest with you, I've been playing fantasy basketball with a few guys that I know here. Oh, man, it's a headache, bro. They play so much. You know how often I have to check that app? It's
bro,
madness,
they're playing every day, man. I mean, they're literally playing every day. Like,
and I thought like the Fantasy Premier League was a handful, because you have to check every week and stay on top of it. I'm playing with these gents that have given up. I don't know what's happening with Tev and Ruben and Les. They just stopped playing, and I'm slapping them around.
Signing details, bro.
But now this fantasy basketball, it's actually difficult to keep up with, because the amount of games that. And tomorrow's the All-Star weekend. Let me ask just one question there for you, Aaron. Does that All-Star game mean anything to you? Would you even watch it? Highlights?
I do watch it. I think. Look, I mean, in terms of the skill challenge, I mean, the best skill challenge we had, I don't remember the year, but I mean, it had Kobe, LeBron, Dwayne Wade, and I think one more other guy that I can't remember, maybe Derrick Rose. I mean, and that was in the skill challenge. I mean, that's amazing. Now, the skill challenge is like the Bucks versus, I don't know, man, like, I know Adetokounmpo is amazing, but I mean, like, I don't want to watch him do handles. Like, let's be fair. I don't see him like that. I want like Kyrie, Chris Paul. Like I want those guys in the skills challenge. So that I don't care too much about. The 3-point contest this year is, I mean, you got Buddy Hield, you got Damian Lillard,
Halliburton did it as well,
and then like that's it, man. And then the other guys. Yeah. The one guy, I think he just got signed from the G League, and he's in the 3-point contest.
Hey, there's a guy who was in the dunk contest. Actually, the guy who won it isn't even in the NBA. He's in the G League. Mac McCullum or something like that.
Yeah. So, and even that, like the slam dunk contest. I mean, since like Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine left, it's kind of just been, it's just Yeah, man. I
not
get
the
it
same.
because they don't want to get hurt, you know. Like I do also understand it from that point of view. But the All-Star game I do enjoy because I mean Steph broke history last year as well. I mean 16 3-pointers. Also won the MVP for that I think as well. Also got 51 points or something like crazy like that.
Yeah.
So it's fun to see, man, because a lot of the time they get left, you know, if they see a player's running down courts and going to slam dunk, the guy's like,
Yeah.
"Oh, have your
Yeah, they
moment, do it." Yeah,
They don't
there's
put
the-
in like 100% defense and
Yeah,
everything.
I mean, if you
so-
see like the blocks and steals in that game, maybe steals are a bit high, but blocks in that game is quite low.
Yeah.
They just kind of let everyone just show off. You know, that's what it is, man. It's just a
run
like
around.
it's like a pickup
Exhibition.
game, man. Yeah, it's like a pickup game.
Okay, sick. Tev, any
cool.
interest in watching it?
I like the All-Star games. Like Aaron said, dunk contest used to be sick. I think it is Gordon that did probably the most outrageous one. I think it was where he jumped over the mascot, put the ball under his leg, still
Yeah,
came over,
both
dunk.
legs.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
I don't think anything can top that from what I've seen. But that used to be pretty sick to watch. All-Star games. I think as a weekend, it's really good for value for entertainment. 'cause they
occasion,
used
yeah.
to also do it. Yeah. Sometimes they'd even stream the comedy section to it. There'd be comedy and then the actual basketball. So
I know now
Nice
they
to
also
have one of those.
do like a celebrity one now that who's the 10 rings Chang-Chi guy? What's his name?
Oh yeah.
Simu
The
Liu.
main guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he played in the celebrity
All-Star.
game now. So
Check that out, yeah.
yeah, actually, there was a really funny dunk yesterday. Someone that plays with you know Alvarado, they call him Grand Theft Alvarado. So
Yeah,
there was
because
a
of the
guy.
steals.
Yeah, there was a guy that plays on his team that he acted like he was gonna miss the dunk, and he just calmed down and he was bouncing the ball, and he's like, okay, I'm coming, and then Alvarado came and stole the ball, ran, and then laid it up for him. And I thought that was quite like a cute little show me, like a whole little different thing about
check
it.
it
But
out.
yeah, man, nice to chat a little bit about the NBA. I think we are about ready to close off. This is a neat little, a long episode here. No worries with that. Aaron's gonna close us off with a quote.
Okay, so I have one from the late and great Kobe Bryant. So he just says, "I don't want to be the next Michael Jordan. I only want to be Kobe Bryant." And I think that should resonate with some people in just being, you know, there's only one of you, so you know,
Just
you
embrace
can't
it,
really-
man.
Yeah, just be you,
Yeah.
man. Just embrace it. You know, embrace the short kings. You know, just you know, just,
I think that's actually really also good advice, like for you now going into your marriage. Like we can give you advice and inputs and everything, but at the end of the day, it is yours and it is you, and you just got to trust yourself and trust Imi, and then the rest of us, we can just spectate from the outside. So, you know, there's no need to replicate anything. But yeah, I think that's a nice little quote to end us off. Tev?
no, just carrying your sentiments. Be you, do you. I think that's where the focus is, man. Enjoy it. Just enjoy it. I can say it's an amazing journey, man. And I can't commend you enough for making this decision, bro.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I
Appreciate
think
it.
that's a nice place to end us off. Aaron, audacious Aaron, thanks so much for joining us, my king. We
No,
really
I
appreciate it.
man. It was awesome, and I had a great time, and I definitely would be keen to do this again.
Yep.
Yeah, you know, I'll get a bit more updates in my life, and then we can do it. Else I'm just going to
Yeah.
be talking about the same stuff. So
Nah, you're an interesting dude. I'm sure we can pull some more conversations out from you.
Nah,
So yeah, that
appreciate
was
it.
audacious Aaron. Thank you so much, my king. Tasty Tev. I'll see you next week, same time, same place. You know, most.
We know how we do tantalizing Thai. Everyone, again, don't forget to follow us on our various social channels. All links are below, and our website. That's it from now. That's it from us for now. See you next week. Cheers, guys.
Bye bye.